Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome on into the ultimate Cleveland sports show. I'm Jason Lloyd, and for the last, 3 or 4 months, the Browns have broken our hearts. Finally, we get 8 months off of not getting kicked in the teeth and getting our hearts broken. So we get to talk about other sports today, such as the Guardians and their lack of free agent spending. They did come to terms with Stephen Kwan to avoid arbitration. We're going to talk about the Guardians, if this is it, if they're going to spend anything this summer or this winter, and what this season lies ahead. Tyvis.
And we're going to keep that theme going because we're going to talk about some cash. We've seen Trey Young just get traded for some kibbles and bits. So we're going to talk about what would Darius Garland's trade value be. G?
And, we're going to talk about some other things besides quarterbacks. What? Shut your mouth. We're going to get into the offensive line. We know we need linemen, but we're going to tell you how many new linemen may you see on this roster coming up in 2026. McNuggets.
Yeah, we're getting off track, but we got to play at least one hit, guys. We are talking quarterbacks, and that's where we are going to start. We found out this week on Monday that the Browns were moving on from Kevin Stefanski. But Andrew Berry is staying on as general manager, and he made it seem like this team is ready to win. And owner Jimmy Haslam made it seem like this roster is good enough to win right away. So in a weird, convoluted way, and Jason, I'll let you start on this one, is Andrew Berry's future either directly and or indirectly tied to the success of the quarterback room in 2026?
Absolutely. And this is where I get a little bit confused on the messaging, because Jimmy Haslam came out when they fired Kevin and said 8 wins over 2 years is horrible. We expect better. We will do better. Okay, so if you think you should have won more than 5 games this year, I'd like to know what quarterback you're going to do that with, because Andrew Berry sat at the podium and said, basically, we are not married to Shedeur. We're going to look at internal and external options for the quarterback in 2026. So if you're going to go out and find a short-term veteran or a stopgap veteran to try and win more games, that's going to take you out of position to then try and find your long-term solution in the 27 draft. If you're not taking a quarterback in 26, you're not taking a quarterback. Where are you finding your quarterback? And everybody knows the NFL is tied, and success in the NFL is tied directly to who your quarterback is. So I'm just a little bit confused on how they're going to approach this situation. I'm curious to see how this plays out. But, Andrew Berry and Kevin, because he was here at the time, told you there was one quarterback worth taking in the first round. And they traded down from 2 to 5, and that's fine. But then Jackson Dart played extremely well in New York. And I made the point all year long on this show, on our YouTube version, if Jackson Dart and or Tyler Shuck prove to be franchise quarterbacks, that enough is a fireable offense to everybody in the organization, because they told you we had the second pick in a 1 quarterback draft. And so far, that's proven to be not true.
Interesting enough. What do they have to say about the scouting department? Because those are the ones, they also
absolutely
look at that as well.
Absolutely, that's fair. Yeah.
So that's, when you talk about the quarterback role, I won't necessarily say that his future is tied to the quarterback room. I think it's more tied to the wins and losses.
Mm-hmm. But how do you get wins and losses? Depending on what position?
Depends, because this is the funny thing. So, funny enough, I think the game of football slowly, very slowly, is going back old school. It's going back to being able to be a dominant defense, and can you run the ball effectively?
Interesting.
I know. Thank you. It's just something I've been thinking about. I look around and I always realize that teams that run the ball effectively usually are doing well, especially when you get towards the end of the season. And you want a team that can stop. Honestly, I think the Browns' plans for the past few years have been, especially with prime Nick Chubb, was that we're going to be up in the second half because we're going to have a good defense that's going to stop everybody, but we got to be able to run the ball effectively.
Yeah.
And I think that was what they wanted to lean on, and it just never got there because they really didn't have the lead in the second half to be able to bleed the clock.
That's true.
I think when you look at the situation with the quarterback room, if you're not all the way confident in that quarterback room, I mean, look at Pittsburgh. Look how they won against Pittsburgh. They came out, they got the lead, and that defense played really well, and they was able to sustain that lead for the rest of the game. I think right now, until you get that quarterback that you're confident in or that offense gets to going, that is the recipe for how you win games, and I think they're going to lean more into that. But it comes with they got to get that offensive line fixed too.
I think, the question is, hey, are they married to it at this point? No. But I will say that you definitely living together. You might got bills in each other's name, and that make it kind of difficult to move on. You got that cable bill, okay, you got to put a deposit on stuff. So you might not be married or engaged, but let's be real. Andrew Berry needs to win a certain amount of games. And those games are going to happen based on the overhaul of the offense. And he's going to have to make the evaluation. I don't think Jimmy Haslam is going to say, oh, it's cool, you won 5 games, let's win 5 again next year. They're going to make a determination that we got to figure the quarterback out, we got to figure out what the offense is. And for me, I think that Andrew Berry is definitely, at a point, is tied to Shedeur Sanders. It is what it is. If you look at it, if you look at his track record, he did everything in heaven and earth to move people so that Shedeur got an opportunity to play. And I look at this small little point here. When Kevin Stefanski said, after Shedeur played his first game, they came back and said, hey, if Dylan Gabriel passes concussion protocol, is he the starter? He said yes.
Yes, you did.
At a point in time, Dylan Gabriel passed concussion protocol.
No.
He didn't go back into the game.
No. You talking about? That's after he played against the Raiders.
After the Baltimore game, they asked him. And then he did not clear
for the
Raiders.
He went to
The Raiders, beat the Raiders, and then was able to
and
hold
then
on to the job.
Now look, if they wasn't sold on it, and he said he's the starter, why would you beating the Raiders make that big of a difference? That's
because the offense looked a lot better that game.
Well, Shedeur came in, looked the way he did, and then you get a situation where now Andrew Berry's like, okay, well, I'm going to roll with this. So for him, I don't think he can afford to come in and get another rookie quarterback and win 4 games. I don't think that it's a Band-Aid going to get a veteran. So my thing is, for better or worse, they picked what they got right now, and I think that his main target is Shedeur Sanders and riding with him. Now, he's going to have to ride or die with it because at the end of the day, when you pick and you think long, you think wrong. He's attached to that. I don't think he can run from that.
Again, Shedeur will be fine. I think that, we was talking about a few weeks of practice. Imagine an offseason. It get dangerous. So now that he's put that in the atmosphere, he's going to have this whole entire offseason to do that. Obviously, you still got to figure out the coaching, figure out the offense and things like that. But they still got to get guys healthy, and I still think they're going to lean into running the ball. My personal opinion.
Well, you mentioned the offensive line earlier. One of the huge questions of this offseason is how are the Browns going to go about rebuilding their offensive line? All 5 of their starters from this season, their original, who ended the year, I guess you would say, are not under contract for next year. How many new starters will there be on the offensive line next year, and how many of them will be rookies?
Are we going off of the last game starting 5?
How do you want to do it, Mike? Do you want to do it off the last game starting 5, or do you want to do it like DeJuan Jones?
The main group.
So I think you can roll Luke Whippler. I think you're going to roll with DeJuan Jones at right tackle.
You're moving him back to right tackle?
Yeah.
They've already said that.
They said that already.
Yeah. And do we know an update to Luke Whippler? Who was carted off the field in Week 18, for what it's worth?
No, we don't.
I would have to imagine he'll be okay by next year, but I don't know what he is.
So I think you got Luke Whippler. I think you got DeJuan. I don't know. They have not shown that they believe in Zach Center, so I think you got to replace 3 out of 5. I think you got 2.
And how many rookies?
I think
it's definitely going to be a starter. The left tackle definitely going to be a rookie. With the left guard definitely going to be a rookie. Well, they might get Tevin Jenkins back.
So
2. Realistically, I say 2.
Say you could get a Linderbaum or somebody in free agency. You go back and you.
Linderbaum plays center.
Yeah.
So then that messes up.
Well, I don't know if I like what Whippler was doing.
Of course you do. Go Bucks.
I don't know exactly how well he's going. You know, I don't know what the injury is and what his timetable is. But Tevin Jenkins is a guy I think that they will kick the cans on and try to see if he'll come back. DeJuan Jones will probably play on the right side, assuming for this purpose of this conversation, Whippler is back. I think you're looking at trying to find a new guard. And you're trying to find a new tackle off back.
The left side. Where did Tevin Jenkins play? Left or right guard? Right guard.
Right.
He played right.
But he could play either.
Yeah.
I believe he could play either.
Now, Zach Zenner, it was strange. He was at center. I didn't know that was in his tool belt.
Well, I don't know if he knew it was in his tool belt.
Did not go very well for him.
I think he was missing a loop.
But to me, when you talk about the draft, we say receiver needs, but I think at the top of the draft, I think the dramatic fall, it happens at the top of the offensive line room very quickly.
Yes, it does.
So by the time you get to the late 20s, you dealing with guys that they ain't plug and play at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that you may be looking at a guy, unless the Cleveland Browns believe trade down, and we were told the trade down technology.
I just don't think it's that many tackles in this draft for you to be able to do that. Now, the best thing that could have happened is if DeJuan was good at left tackle, you could get the kid from Miami because he's like 3 on the big board.
Yeah.
Moaga?
Yeah.
I don't know how you can count on
Maui
DeJuan
Noga.
at all for anything. He
I
can't
know
stay
it, but
healthy.
You could start. You could count on him to start the season.
I don't know that you can. They tried that this year with no backup plan, and it blew up in their face.
Well, you have to address the backup.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say Tevin Jenkins is back. I think he's back. I don't know if you can roll with Zinter. He's really been a disappointment. He finally got his opportunity late in the season. I do think Whippler's back. I agree with you there. I think you're going to have 2 new tackles. I'll say 1 rookie, 3 new linemen, and 1 rookie would be where I land on it. Only, I don't know. Can you really want to trust 2 rookies on the offensive line? Like that alone is a big ask.
I don't want to keep them on the same side.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna draft a left tackle, Jenkins got to play left guard.
And then
if you rolling with DeJuan at right tackle, he ain't really got a lot of experience. Yeah.
Part of the reason DeJuan had success at right tackle is because he was playing next to Wyatt Teller.
I agree.
And you had Joel Bitonio. Like those guards could be a massive loss going into next season just because of the veterans, and they know, and they were able to tell guys where to go.
Beg
and what to
Bitonio to come back for 1 more year.
I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. We're taking a break. When we come back, there was a big trade in the NBA this week. Trae Young was basically sent away for nothing, which begs the question about Darius Garland. What is Darius Garland's trade value? And it's something the Cavs should explore. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Big trade in the NBA this week. The Atlanta Hawks sent Trae Young to the Washington Wizards for C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert. It was basically a straight salary dump. They were trying to get off the rest of Trae's money for this year and a $50 million option for next year. Atlanta was just trying to clear cap space. They did it last year when they sent DeAndre Hunter here, and now they just did it again. They've got other moves they're making down the road, but the question as it pertains to Cleveland is, what does that mean about Darius Garland? We've had the conversation all year long. I think Darius is about $100 million guaranteed over the rest of this season and 2 years to follow. He's been a topic of trade conversations. I haven't bought it at all. I don't think the value is there, and I'm wondering, did this convince you guys that there is no market for Darius? Do you still think that there is, or should they do a move like this where they're basically dumping him on a couple of expiring contract veterans who may help you a little bit, but it would at least get the Cavs out of the second apron?
Nah, man, no value. I'm not taking no shots about, I think Darius is a very good player in this league. I think he's a great scorer. I think, he's a good facilitator. And I think it's just the problem is his slider frame and the defensive liability. And, when you look at it, when Kevin Durant comes out and says it, during the offseason, like now guys are just hunting matchups. And Darius Garland is awesome on the offensive end, but you take a look at, his plus minus last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves with Ant Edwards and big guys and guys like that. And they're 6'5 plus. He's minus 20 something or minus 24 on the plus minus. And so when you look at it, Trae Young is a guy who's a high volume shooter. He averages more assists than Darius Garland. He does not have the same injury history as Darius Garland, and they gave him away for Minimowski.
Yeah.
So what do you think you're gonna do to get off this contract? I don't see the value there.
First of all, I ain't trading Darius Garland at all. Y'all know that's my favorite player on the Cavs, and Darius is here to stay for the long. I just bought a Darius Garland jersey. You think I'm about to? No, he ain't getting traded. I'm glad he ain't got no value.
That's crazy.
I think
that came off so bad.
I didn't mean it like that, but I'm glad.
Yeah.
I think that Darius has just got to be one of those guys that he has to understand that he will be the guy that everybody's going to go at because of the fact that he's smaller and he's a defensive liability. How he counters that is he has to be so great offensively that it counters the fact that he's a defensive liability. So that's where he is. Obviously, he's had that injury to start the season. That's been some while ago. He's had some games where he's played really well. We just need it more consistently. You're getting good games out of Donovan Mitchell, and even Donovan has had games where he's took his foot off the gas a little bit, and we needed somebody to pick up that slack. Darius has to be that guy because Darius has had moments where people have talked about him like he's one of the best guards in this league. He just doesn't do it on a consistent basis. And if this Cavs team want to get to where they have to go, it's going to come from Darius Garland. We thought it would be Evan Mobley. It's not. And Evan is fine. I mean, Evan is who he is.
He's a good player.
The one wild card on this team has always been Darius Garland. Darius is a player that can go for 40 if he's locked in. If the floater is and the mid-range shot is dropping and the three-point is hitting, Darius can be a very dangerous weapon. We just need that to be more consistently. That's all we're missing with this team right now.
Jason, Darius Garland got to be Kyrie Irving.
That's not going to happen.
I'm asking for a lot.
But
I hear what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
The role. Kyrie was, I'm getting 25. I averaged more shots than LeBron, and I'm going to be an assassin offensively.
Yeah, Darius is not Kyrie, unfortunately. Prime Kyrie, who was here, in 2016. He's a flawed player, particularly defensively, but this is the Cavs' best shot. There is no trade out there that's going to make this team better. Can you find something that's going to get off his money and get you out of the second apron? I guess, yeah, sure, but you're trying to win a championship. This is your window. So there's no trade exists, in my mind, that moves Darius and makes this team better. Therefore, I think you got to keep him and ride it out.
Yeah, when you look at what Atlanta did versus the situation Cleveland's in, I don't think Atlanta's looking at themselves right now and saying we can win a championship.
They are not.
Trae Young had a $50 million player option.
Yep.
They were not ready to commit long-term money to Trae Young. In their mind, it makes more sense to, hey, let's turn Trae Young, who, by the way, has been hurt also. He's played 10 games this entire season, into guys that may be able to help us this year, but we're off their money a lot quicker, and now we have more flexibility to make other moves that we can now use those moves to become a championship contender. The Cavs are in their championship window, and they traded for DeAndre Hunter last year. They pushed their chips in on the table. They went into the second apron. They're the most expensive roster in basketball. You don't become the most expensive roster in basketball and decide, oh, yeah, we're not a championship team.
Correct.
If the Cavs want to salary dump Darius Garland for pieces for the future, it completely goes against the entire timeline they've spent the last 4 years putting together. It makes no sense, and although Darius Garland is admittedly a flawed player, look at the Cavs' offense when he doesn't play. They are not the same team. Their offense takes a significant step back, and to G's point, yes, he has his defensive flaws. He needs to play at an offensive level to where it balances out to at least a net neutral.
Yeah.
If they do that and they get help, the Cavs can make a deep playoff run.
Do you guys play poker?
Yes.
No.
You know the term pot committed?
No.
When pot committed is when you have so much money in the hand you can't get out.
You pay full.
You got to see the river.
You got
to see the river card.
Listen, it's too much in the you too invested.
You are pot committed. You can't fold now.
Whatever you got.
The Cleveland Cavaliers are pot committed to this season, and they knew that going in. There is no out. You don't fold your hand now. You ride this thing out. This is a talented team. These are the same pieces that won 60. What was it? I keep messing up. 64 or
64
65?
games.
They won 64 games last year. Now, we talk about on the YouTube show. Did they overachieve last year during the regular season? Yeah, probably. Did they underachieve? Did they underachieve during the playoffs? Absolutely. So what else is in there? And we know we have not seen the best version of this team yet. Max Strus is still at least a month away.
Flip the switch.
There will be time for them to put the pieces together. You have to ride this out and hope. All right, we're taking a break. When we come back, the Cleveland Guardians agreed to avoid arbitration with Stephen Kwan. Is that their biggest move of the offseason, or is there more coming? We'll talk about it when we come back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. The Guardians and Stephen Kwan avoided arbitration, agreeing to a contract just over $7 million. That brings their payroll to $64 million.
Nasty work.
It's unbelievable. You add in a bunch of they still have other deals to work out. They're going to be league minimum guys. So their payroll right now, I believe my colleague Zach Meisel calculated it at around $75 million, I think. It's lower than what it was in the year 2000. So we're going back 25 years.
Bull talked about it and said, we were sitting on the show and he was talking about the payroll. We looked at we looked at the Indians at the time's lineup, and they had Albert Bell, and they were paying a bunch of guys. It was almost comparable in 1996.
It's unbelievable. And I mean, there's a lockout looming or a work stoppage looming. That's what a lot of these owners are gearing up for. It's not a good excuse. I'm just explaining the reasoning behind it, I think. So the question is, are they done, or is there still more to do? I believe there's still more they can do. Probably not in free agency. They've never been a team that's active in free agency. It's not going to be. There are trade targets that I think they can acquire. They've got a deep minor league system. They've got a couple log jams in a couple different spots. Everybody's always looking for pitching. So I do think, Brendan Donovan is the name at the top of my list from the Cardinals. His name's been mentioned off and on. I like his versatility.
That's the one that they want Chase DeLauder for him, right?
Well, that's not going to happen. If that's the price, then you can't do that.
Okay.
But if you can work something out for Donovan, because Donovan can play second base, he can be your opening day second baseman until Travis Bazan is ready, and then he can move all over the infield. He plays anywhere but catcher and pitcher, basically. You can play him anywhere. And he could even slide to shortstop, because I'm getting kind of tired of oscillating back and forth between Rocchio and Arias. It's just not there.
Don't bring up Arias. He messed up my baseball expert title. First, and when you
was not long.
And when you talk about Stephen Kwan, you refer to him as Mr. 400. He's going to have it this year.
He is not going to have it this year.
Let's hit 300.
It's not even a guarantee he's on the roster this year.
That's crazy.
That's pretty messed up.
He could easily be one of the trade targets.
You think Seattle will want him? I know that he was they were a top.
Well, San Diego, I think, was interested in him last year. He's got value. And
would you trade him?
Well, you're not going to sign him long term, or it would have happened already. So
here we go.
You're now up against the clock with them, and now the cycle starts to repeat itself. They do have a bunch of young players that I am curious to see. You got your first look at DeLauder and Valera in the playoffs. I'm with you. With contract clocks and with trying to manipulate control service time. I don't know that they're going to start the year in the majors. You would like them to, but it may be the end of April, early May before they're up. But between DeLauder, Valera, eventually Bazana, yes, get another look at Kafis. You expect Manzardo to take another leap. Their pitching staff is intact. I like their starting rotation. They've fortified the bullpen. There's a lot to like, and you don't want to necessarily block the path for a guy like DeLauder or Valera. That's why I like Donovan, because he can move all over the field. He can play anywhere.
Jason, I believe in fate and destiny.
Yeah.
I think the Guardians made a mistake when they DFA'd Big Christmas, right?
Oh my
so
goodness
the
gracious.
Orioles got him, and then they DFA. This is the universe saying, like, take them back.
No, they're not going to take them back.
By the way,
they're not going to take them back.
Take them back.
Do
it for me.
This is a scary thing. So Gavin Williams, who just took over, I believe, as the number one ace on the roster over Tanner Bybee.
He emerged as that.
He emerged as the ace, but what also emerges is you already picked. You paid Tanner. Are you paying Gavin?
No. Gavin's agent, Scott Boras. You are not paying Gavin.
So if he comes out and balls and is tremendous.
Enjoy him while he's
here. Enjoy him while he's here?
Yeah, but we're not at that point. He's not even to arbitration yet, so we don't have to have that. Eventually, we're going to have that conversation. Today's not that day. So you at least have that much going for you. There is a lot to like about this team, and you can't get so hung up on money. And is the payroll too low? Yes, it is. It should be higher. But the Browns spend $1 billion in payroll and win nothing over 3 or 4 years. So
just talked about the purgatory the Cavs are in.
It's more than just money to build a good culture. The Guardians have figured it out. The Browns have not. So yes, should they spend more? Absolutely, they should spend more.
They don't need to spend more. Just get Big Christmas back.
They're not getting Big Christmas
It's
back.
done.
It's not happening.
It's overtime.
He's Joe Boo.
He hit one of the greatest postseason home runs I've ever seen.
And we'll thank him forever for that. Ryan
he
Merritt.
hasn't hit anything since.
Ryan Merritt. That's right.
Shout out to Rajay Davis.
Ryan Merritt pitched a great game, and everybody bought everything off his registry. He ain't here no more. Have a great weekend, everyone. Catch us Monday on YouTube on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace.